My mom is looking for a car in North Carolina. When she asks for a Carfax, the dealers keep telling her they won't show it until she makes an offer and she wants to see it before. What should her response be? Go to a different dealer. If a dealer will not give you a Carfax, then let's not buy from that dealer. So with us, you can pay a certain amount a month for Carfax, and it's not cheap, but we have to have it. I feel like it's a necessity for us to pay for that because we have to know if these cars are salvage, if they've been theft, if they've been flood, because we have to disclose that stuff to the customers that we're selling them to. And if a dealership is not just able, is if they're not willing to just give you one, that means that they're not paying the whatever the monthly service fee or whatever it is to run them on every one of their vehicles. So they're not running them. The reason why they're not just giving her one up front is because they have to pay for each one individually. They're not paying for the monthly whatever. So that means they're probably not running them up front anyway. And I don't know of any other situation why a dealer would not want to give her a Carfax when she requests one, unless they're just not wanting to pay for it when she requests it, because it'll probably cost 20 to 40 bucks. I don't know what an individual Carfax costs, but it's probably somewhere around there. So they're just saying to her, hey, you're not worth it for me to pay 20 bucks. So you can have more information on this car. So I'm gonna buy a car from somewhere else. Adam asks, why do dealers still have ridiculously high dealer fees? $800 seems to be the standard in North Carolina. When you're talking about dealer fees and saying 800, I'm assuming you're saying the doc fee, because yeah, that's what I typically will see with doc fees, especially around my area. I'm in North Carolina and I'm seeing like $795, $995. I've got a buddy who's even a used car dealer and he charges, I think it was like $595 doc fee. That's crazy. My dealership, we don't charge any doc fee. I think I don't like the doc fees. I just think if you're going to charge whatever on your car, just put it on the car. Just don't put any additional fees. We just went to a dealership this morning where it's a Ram dealer. They can't sell these trucks. They got trucks sitting everywhere, and they've got like $3,000-$4,000 addendums on top of all these trucks. I don't understand. I know that I've been to a Mazda dealership recently, talked to the salesperson, and every car had a $3,000 markup add-on, their premium package, whatever it is, like the sealant, the nitrogen, all the extra stuff. And I immediately talked to him and I asked him about these add-ons, and he said, "Yeah, if you walk inside, we always just take those off." So why put them on the car? It just that drives me. Like, he even offered that they were just going to take the fees off, and I didn't even ask for the fees to be taken off. It makes no sense to me that these dealerships have the fees, one, and then two, if they have the fees, they're just willing to instantly knock them off. I mean, they have to think consumers are idiots, which we can have a whole debate about that. I mean, consumers allow these fees to happen because there are some consumers out there that will pay the fees. I can tell you don't have to pay the fees, and there are dealerships out there right now that are selling vehicles, especially these new ones, for under MSRP. There are dealerships that are being pinched right now, and you can go find a deal somewhere, but you have to do your homework. You can't just window shop. You have to actually go in, and as miserable as it is, you have to go talk to a salesperson. You have to negotiate. You have to go back and forth with these dealers if you want to try to get a good deal. But I think the question, I don't even know if I answered the question. I think the question was, why do they have these fees? And to tell you the truth, is because they can. Is because consumers will pay them, and until consumers stop paying them and they stop selling these vehicles, like what it looks like is happening right now, then these fees will remain. So stop paying them. Go negotiate them off. If you are buying a vehicle, you can get these fees taken off. And if the particular dealership that you're in, if they won't take the fee off, the doc fee, whatever fee that they have, if they will not take it off, you can go to another dealership that's probably not too far from there, and you can get it taken off. So just shop wisely. Don asks, thoughts on new Subarus right now. So I've had an interview with a actual Subaru salesman on this channel, and I don't know a ton of the about the new Subarus. I haven't driven any of them. I know I've looked at them. They look really nice. But I was able to talk to him, and he talked about a lot of the features and a lot of the reliability. I know Subaru has been one of the more reliable brands that are on the market. And one thing that I will say about the new Subarus and all the Subaru dealers that I've been to, I've never seen a market adjustment on a Subaru. It could be my area, the specific dealers that I'm talking about, but when I'm reading comments, when I'm talking to this Subaru salesman that I interviewed with their dealership that's in, I think it was Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, they've never put a market adjustment. And another thing that you can actually do through Subaru is if there's Subarus that have just more features than you want to pay for, you can actually factory order through the Subaru dealerships. And that's one thing that a lot of other OEMs don't allow you to do. And Subaru does. So that's something that I really like about Subaru, where you can literally build out whatever Subaru that you want to and figure out exactly what you want to pay for, and the things that you don't want, the features that you don't want that you can actually take off the vehicle, you can literally take them off and factory order through the dealerships. So that's something that I really like, and I wish all OEMs would allow you to do that. But that's one thing I really like about Subarus. It is almost time for me to purchase my son his first car. He would like a truck. Budget is $10,000. What is your opinion on the best first truck? So I can tell you that $10,000 is probably not going to be enough for a really good first truck, but I like the direction that you're taking. You're probably going to have to get something higher mileage, but I do like that you're going to get him something on the cheaper end of the spectrum he's probably going to have to work on. So I always want you to go Toyota, but in this case, when you're only working with $10,000, Toyota trucks are so expensive. You're probably going to have to go to a Ford. You're probably going to have to go Chevy, somewhere along those lines, to get something halfway decent for that amount of money. And you're still probably going to have to work on it if you're looking at something with 150-ish thousand miles. If you can look up and find an older Tacoma, that would be my preference, but I don't think you're going to be able to find something that's even halfway decent for that price range. I know that we just went to an auction last week, and the last video that we just did, and there was I want to say it was like a 2003-ish Tacoma, somewhere around there, had 216,000 miles. It wasn't even four-door. It was a two-door with a little extended cab. And it brought $9,300 at auction, wholesale, $9,300, 216,000 miles, and they didn't sell it. So the seller would not even take $9,300 for this truck that a dealer was trying to buy. And if they would have bought it at $9,300, they would end up turning around and selling it probably for $13,000. So that's kind of what you're looking at. 2002, 2003 Tacoma with 200 plus thousand miles. They're still bringing $15,000. So that's why I'm telling you that I would love for you to find a Tacoma. That's the truck I would pick. I've had one before. I drove it for a while, loved it, loved everything about Tacoma. But with only $10,000, it's going to be very, very tough for you to find something like that. So I would even maybe try to spend a little bit less money, but you're going down in quality of truck. It depends on the size of the truck too, because you can buy a Ford Ranger that's halfway decent, or like a F-150. You can buy some Chevy trucks. Trucks are expensive. They're going to be the last ones to really fall in price on the used car side, just because they're still in just such high demand. Do you sell newer vehicles as well? Looking to buy a Camry or Civic in Charlotte? I've had this discussion before on this channel, talking about the kind of cars that we buy and the range that we buy, the mileage that we buy, and the community that we serve is a community that we don't want to put them in a place where they have to go into debt to buy a vehicle. And that means we have to provide vehicles that we can sell for cash and $5,000 and under. So when we are serving this community, we have to be in that certain price point. And that means that I have to buy cheaper vehicles at auction so I can still make money too. Because at the end of the day, it's not a charity. We're still making money, but we still want to serve this community that's not really served by any other dealer. And when we do that, we have to buy older cars. So really the newest level of vehicle that we'll have on my lot, and it's not really even that common, is 2012, 2013, 2014 is about the newest that we'll get, where we're able to buy them cheap enough to be able to sell them for $5,000 and under. Because you have to keep in mind, when we're selling these vehicles, we're still trying to make $1,000, $1,200 per vehicle. We don't like to spend really over $3,500 because we want to give us some cushion to be able to fix the car and still be able to sell it for $5,000. There's not many vehicles over like 2012, 2013 that we're able to buy for $3,500 or less. So that's the kind of range that we get into. Really, the newer the vehicle is, the higher the mileage has to be for us to be able to buy it in our price range. So what we actually really like to buy is cars that are like 2002 to 2010. And if we can get them with like around 150,000 miles, that's the range I like to stay in, because I feel like we can still buy a car that's going to last an individual for still multiple years. And as long as we check it out good enough, and as long as the customer that buys it from us takes care of it, they can still get good years out of that vehicle until they're able to save up some more money and maybe upgrade down the road. Or if, like a lot of my customers like to do, they'll buy a $3,500 car and they'll just drive it till it blows up. It might be 2-3 years down the road, but they got their money's worth out at that point. And then they come right back to us and say, all right, I bought this 2002 Ford Taurus from you 2 years ago. I paid $2,000 for it then, blew up. I'm ready to buy my next $2,000 car and drive it for another year, 2 years. And then I'll just keep the cycle going. And we have so many of these customers that literally they'll buy $2,000, $2,500 cars from us, and they'll just buy them till the wheels fall off or the motor implodes on itself, and they'll just come buy another one from us, and they'll never have car payments. And they just keep recycling these cars. And they'll, at the end of the day, if they get tired of that car and it's still running, that $2,000 car that they bought from us 2 years from now, the great thing about these cheap cars is they don't go down in value. If a car is $2,000 and it's running right now, if it's running in 2 years from now, it's still going to be worth $2,000. So we have a lot of customers that will do that too. If they just get tired of a car, they'll sell it and they'll get almost as much money out of it as they bought it from us, and then just come buy another car from us. So I like hearing those stories from my customers. I like hearing the stories of customers that were in payments. They had $600 a month payments. They're like, I can't do it anymore. And they end up selling that car, and they come buy a car from us for $2,500 outright cash. And they're like, I feel like I just made money because now I don't have a car payment every month and I can still get to work. So those are the reasons why we're in business for what we do and why we buy the kind of cars that we do. Now, it'd be a lot less hassle if we did buy the newer cars, and we could probably make a lot more money too if we bought the newer cars, but that's not the business model I want to do. And that's not really, I feel like that community doesn't need to be served. There's plenty of other dealers that are buying cars for those kind of consumers, and not too many buying for the kind of consumer that I want to help out. So I think the question was, do we ever buy any new cars? The answer is no. It's just because we can't fit the newer cars into our price range. So you might be watching this and not even know this, but this is a brand new channel. So if you could do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, it would really help me out.